See, learning to speak to other peoples is what could give you a fair advantage in almost any given situation. I'm going to share some examples of words from the book, but what I thought I'd do for you today is share some of the information that's not in the book. See, to write a tiny little book that's massive in content and context, you leave a lot out. And I think it was Mark Twain that most famously said, he said, if I had more time, I'd have written a shorter letter. Brevity is challenging to create. But in an environment like this, I thought what I'd breathe back into the presentation is some of the work that's not in the book to help you be more influential and persuasive in any conversation, in any area of your life. Would that be useful, yes or no? Sure? Thanks, both of you. Appreciate it. See, to be more successful in any conversation, in any area of our life, we really only need 3 critical ingredients. That's it. This is going to serve you at a listing presentation. This is going to serve you when working with buyers, working with members of your team. It's going to help the PMs in the room. It's going to help the loan originators and mortgage professionals in the room. Geez, parents in the room. This is going to help you have better conversations with your kids. You up for it? See, I've learned we only need 3 ingredients. The first is one called curiosity. The second is one that we call empathy. And outside of empathy, we're looking for an ingredient that we call courage. Those are the 3 ingredients that we need to be more influential in any given conversation. And I know what you're thinking. What's the big idea, Phil? These are 3 words I've heard before. So most importantly, why those 3 words and why in that very specific order? Well, let's start with the curiosity piece first of all. Any parents in the room? How many times have you given exceptional advice to your children? Yet we were talking completely to the wrong problem. I'm going to share with you a story I don't get to share too often. It's kind of embarrassing. I remember about a year ago, at Christmas time, back at my house in England, and my then almost 17-year-old daughter comes to me for advice. Dad's in the room. This is a proud moment. Daughters come to you for advice. At least that's what I thought she came to me for. And these were the words that left my mouth. What I said is, when I was in your shoes, 17-year-old daughter. As the words left my mouth, I looked down at the girl's feet and realized there's not been a day in my life that I've wore footwear that resembled that. It became very clear to me that I was the least qualified person in that given moment in time to be able to offer advice in that moment. So by alternative, what did I do? I slowed the conversation down, became strategically curious for more than a minute. By more than a minute, I mean around 27 minutes. By which at the end of the conversation, she says, I think I know what I'm going to do, Dad. And chooses to do the exact same thing I would have advised her to do. She got there all by herself. We live in a business where we are judged by the quality of our advice, correct? The trouble is that sometimes the advice monster shows up a little too loud and proud. We find ourselves showing up and throwing up about why now is the right time. If I follow most of your social media feeds, then what you do is that you pretend you know the answer to everything. Yeah, what we're looking for is context. It's ironic that if somebody shows up with high levels of certainty, then what happens is you become uncertain about them. Familiar in your world? Ever bumped into somebody who's so sure of themselves, so certain of their point of view, that it rubs you up the wrong way? There is not a conversation in the land that you wouldn't like to insert your content. Content about your knowledge, content about your skills, content about the market, content about what's happening, content about why you're better than the other person, content about why now's a better time than another time. But if you insert your content before you earn the other person's context, you just made a noisy situation noisier. Your value only exists in context, which means the skill that is worthy of working is to get to understand the other person's context before you let the advice monster show up. I'm going to set a challenge to every single one of you in the room. It's going to be hard. I believe in you. I have trust that you can probably do this. Here is the challenge. Could you live an entire day of your life delivering approximately 0 advice? None. Nada. It doesn't mean advice is not received. It means no advice is given. Help people get to where you need them to get to by asking curious questions. See, when you're curious for long enough, it dances us towards that second ingredient, that ingredient called empathy. And empathy is like a buzzword right now, correct? People throw it around like it's confetti at a wedding. Still not sure what it is. They confuse it with sympathy. Best definition I've ever heard for the word empathy comes from an author speaker friend of mine by the name of Jon Acuff. And here's how Jon defines empathy. Jon defines empathy as to care about what the people you care about care about. I can't do better than that, so I'm borrowing Jon's definition. Who is the person you care about more than anybody else in the world? You got it, it's you, baby, right? It's all you. So if you care about yourself more than anybody else in the world, the switch is to actively care about other people harder than you do. Would you like to be able to remove the least influential word on the planet from your vocabulary? Just lift this one out, you become more influential. Want to know what it is? The least influential word on the planet is the word I. Yet look at your last 100 sent emails. I was hoping, I was just, I was checking, I wanted, I believe, I think. Simply shift your eyes to use, you become naturally more empathetic. I'm going to just check how empathetic this room is. Answer me with a solid yes or no. Is now a good time to buy a house, yes or no? Is now a good time to sell a house, yes or no? Stop it, all of you. The answer is it depends. The answer is it depends. I hate to break it to you, but did you know that nobody wants to buy a house? Approximately 0 people would like to buy a house. You knew that? Also, nobody wants to sell a house either. People want to buy a house because, and they want to sell a house because. If you don't know what that because is, all you are is a walking talker brochure of stats and processes that exist in your marketplace. You want a way to stand out in today's market? Have a deep understanding of the because that lives inside of the person that is trying to make a housing transaction. You will change the game. We live in an industry that works 30, 60, 90-day plans. What's going to close in 30? What's going to close in 60? What's going to close in 90? If you're working 30, 60, 90-day pipelines, you're already a relic. You want to win in today's marketplace? Work 30, 60, 90-month plans. Take a moment inside yourself for a second. Have you got some idea what your next move might be? Might be 3 years' time, might be 7 years' time, might be 11 years' time. You got some idea where you might move next? Kids finish middle school, might go here. Mum and dad decide to be able to retire to this part of the country, might shrink things in, might make a change. If you can get into the mess with your clients, then what you do is you get to the head of the pile so they're no longer shopping you to anybody else because your value is only valuable where it is both appreciated and appreciating. Give it time. Is this making sense so far, yes or no? See, when you're curious for long enough, you earn context. When you're empathetic, you're relatable. No longer is it you versus them, it's you and them versus it. You're on the same side. There's a button that lives inside the mind of every decision maker on the planet. It's a button I've learned to call the show me that you know me button. The minute you trigger the show me that you know me button, you're not trying to win the sale, win the listing, win the deal. It's you and them versus something bigger. That's what it means to be an advisor. It's to solve the problem that's bigger than both of you, that you can only achieve together. That's what winning looks like today. And then when we get to this third ingredient called courage, finish this sentence for me. If you do not ask, you do not get, or you do not receive. We know that that is true. See, sometimes the courage to ask can feel like a big ask. Has anybody in this room ever made like a really big ask? Anybody made like the will you marry me ask? It's a big ask, right? Fairly big ask. How big of an ask is it? Anybody ask it with like 50-50 odds of closing? Or did you have a slightly higher belief in your conversion rate in that moment? See, actually the big asks that we should be making of our clients and prospects should be asked like that. They're just the next natural step. And then it's the next natural step. And then it's the next natural step. The mistake many agents make right now is they try to get people to make giant leaps. When really, if we're curious enough to understand their context, empathetic enough to be relatable, courageous enough to invite them to take the next step, then we're curious enough to understand their context, empathetic enough to be relatable, then courageous enough to make them make the next step, then you will learn how to influence one moment at a time. Helpful, yes or no?